Good afternoon, my friends. How are you today? It's a very warm day, unseasonably warm, and tomorrow is going to be the same. So today we're planting fruit trees and moving compost. Not that that's super exciting or anything, but the fruit trees that we got bare root the other day, I need to put those in the ground. And I got 5 yards of compost delivered, and I've already loaded up 2 of the birdie's beds with them. I did that yesterday, and now I need to move on to the rest of the garden. One thing we're going to be doing tomorrow, Monday morning, before we head out to the farm, because I've got a lot of stuff to do over there, is checking on the bees. So tomorrow I need to suit up and dive into this hive, the green one. The brown one's empty right now. Dive into the hive and see how they're doing. It's usually too cold in January to open up the hive, but we have these couple days of warmth. I want to make sure that they still have plenty of food, in other words, a lot of honey. And if they don't, then I'm going to add syrup for them, and just make sure that the hive, that all the bees look pretty healthy. And then we're going to get a whole bunch of rain and cold weather again. So it's this little window where there's a good chance to kind of inspect and see how they're doing. The manzanita, which is this shrub right here, yeah, I know it's covered in leaves, but do you see all of these baby flowers just about to start coming out? This is a prime source of food for bees early in the season. Last year, it was so cold that the bees completely missed this nectar source. So I'm thinking the way this winter has gone, it's been very warm, that they'll be able to take advantage of that this year. I just want to make sure that they have plenty of food to get them through. Generally, if it's below 55 degrees Fahrenheit outside, the bees will not leave the hive. They might do a very quick run to use the bathroom, because they try not to do that in the hive. But otherwise they stay in the hive, and especially if it's raining and definitely when it's cold. So on these warmer days, they're cleaning out the hive. If there have been any dead bees, they're literally pushing them off the front of the of the hive. The mortician bees, that's their job. And so a lot happens on these warmer days. So I want to make sure I get in there and check on them. All right, so we're going to plant these 2 fruit trees today. I'm sorry, I know this is shading and there's weird shadows, but it's bright. Right now, the apple and the persimmon are soaking in a bucket of water. These are bare root trees. It's really important that they get a very hard, deep soak before they go in the ground. And right now is the time, January through March, to plant bare root fruit trees. I mean, depending on your zone. If you're in a zone where your ground is frozen solid till May, obviously it's a different timeline. But in general, January through March, you want to get these guys, bare root trees, in the ground before they break bud. Right now they're dormant, and that's the best time to plant them. So I need to go out in the garden and scout out 2 locations for these guys. As with all of my trees, my fruit trees, I'm going to keep them small so they'll stay pruned so that they're smaller and manageable. But I totally forgot that I ordered these. So when I laid out the garden, the new garden, I didn't take them into account. So I need to go scout and see if I can find a good place to put them. And then we need to dig some holes and get these guys placed. Okay, so this is the mini orchard right here. I've got these apple trees here, these 3 apple trees. There's the pear, and then a plum, and then we've got that line, you can barely see them because they don't have leaves on them yet, line of plum and nectarine and jujube and elderberry right there. I think that I'm actually going to put this apple tree, the 4-in-1, right here in this corner. This bed has peonies in it, and as you can see, daffodils. The other day I called them tulips. They're not tulips, daffodils. It's got peonies and daffodils in it, but nothing really took over here for some reason. And so I think, because I basically ended up growing tomatoes here last year with, some peppers and some other stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is put that apple tree here. I think this is a nice spot for it. And it's close to all of the other trees, even though that apple tree is 4 different varieties, so it's basically self-fruitful. It'll keep everything together. Now the persimmon, I am tempted to put the persimmon back here in this corner. I'm tempted to move this hutch, the chicken coop, over. This is a temporary coop that I used. I used it for the babies to introduce them to the big girls earlier this last fall. And it's also good for sick chickens or whatever. But I'm considering moving this over here to the edge so that I have this space in the back to plant that persimmon. Because as that tree grows, I can totally afford to let that persimmon tree get big because it will shade the chickens, which they definitely need in the summertime. And it's not going to impede any garden plants because it's on the north side of the garden. So I think that's my plan. I will start by digging that hole for the apple tree. The girls are like, well, why can't we come out and play? I'll start by digging that hole, and then I'll tackle the persimmon. I am not going to put compost in the hole. I have found that it's better to plant these trees with native soil around them so that the soil I use to dig out, it will be used to backfill. I will dress the top with compost, and I definitely have plenty of that. And they'll get a little bit of starter fertilizer in the hole, but that's about it. I want them to happily send their roots out and encounter native soil everywhere so that they don't stop and stunt their growth. Sometimes if you dig a hole and you've got hard native soil on the outside and you fill that hole with compost, the roots will kind of hit that native soil and just stop, and then they start running rings around that hole, and clearly not good for a tree. So, all right, get that done. And real quick, I'll show you what I've already done moving compost. So this is, I can't even remember the size, you guys. It's like 3 by 4 feet, or 3.5 by 4.5. But these are oyas. So oyas are these large ceramic containers. So it's narrow at the top here, and then you lift the lid, and it's a deep thing container. It's a bulbous. It goes down to the ground in these, and you fill them with water, and because it's a very porous ceramic, it leaks out into the surrounding soil. So having these guys both, these are the large variety, and they have a 4-foot radius of water. So I am not going to run irrigation to this bed, to any of these birdies' beds. They're all going to have oyas in them. And I'm going to test that out this year, see how it goes. Really easy way of watering. You just take a watering can and fill up the oyas and just make sure they're topped up. And then there's a constant source of water in the beds. So I've got this one full. I have not filled this one yet. I just ordered medium-sized oyas. So as soon as those arrive, this one will get filled. I did fill this bed. This one is 3.5 by 8.5. And it has 2 large oyas in it. So this one's filled. And I have another 2 medium ones on order for this one. And then we'll fill that. But in the meantime, I need to hoe all of the little weeds out of these 2 U-shaped garden beds. These are the new ones. And this one down here. I'm going to hoe away all the weeds, and then they're going to get a deep layer of compost on top in preparation for planting. Actually starting with lettuce next week. Lettuce seedlings next week. This whole bed also needs compost. These are all just seedlings that popped up from flowers that have grown here before. As you can see, the mustard looking absolutely stunning, beautiful. Everything else, though, the slugs have been enjoying. Look at this poor broccoli. Now, we ate the center stem, so those are side stems, but the leaves, the slugs have just been killing it. So I am going to hoe through all of here because there's obviously lots of little weeds, and hope that these guys come back. I took the cloches off so that the slugs don't have as many places to hide, and I'll come out at night and pick them off and give them to the chickens. But these cabbages are actually going to form a head, hopefully. They look like they are, at least. Give them a lot more time. Artichokes, you know, everything got kind of shredded, but I think it's going to be okay. And then here's our garlic bed, looking good. Now I am going to, normally I don't really care about weeds in the garlic beds, but this particular weed, I don't want. It's real cute, but when it flowers, it sends up this little stalk, and the seeds, when you touch the stalk, the seeds fly out in like 4-foot radius, and it just sows everywhere. So I do not want that in the garden. It's already here, but I want to prevent it from spreading more, so I don't want those to flower. So I will be hand pulling those. I'm not going to hoe in here because I've got that surface of straw and I don't want to really disturb that. And the tulips have started coming up. So this is the Apricot Pride variety. So these guys are coming up. This one is a late variety, but they're coming up already. That's a double called Shake. You can see what it looks like there. And over here, these tulips, I did not plant this bed of tulips. These are tulips that somehow survived. Last year, this was a tulip bed, and they're coming up. This was an ice crystals bed, and I can tell just by looking at that, that's ice crystals. There's also some radishes in here that haven't done exceptionally well or anything. I'm just going to leave them. I'm not ready to use this bed yet. There's some onions back here. And then these crates have tulips in them. Now, obviously, squirrels have really done a number. See, they totally destroyed that. There's a few coming up. This one is snow crystals, so I'm okay with that. This one is Palmyra, which is like a black tulip. Time to start pulling this away, but it's a bummer because the squirrels really did get in there. The rest of these weren't very disturbed by squirrels, but I don't think all of them are coming up yet. This one is Finola. It's a double late variety, and yeah, not popping up yet, so I'm going to keep that covered. This is also a double late. That's Black Hero. That looks good, and this is a double late as well. So my late varieties have not started popping up, which is expected, and I'm really glad. This one's also a double late, but I think some of these are starting to come up. Let's check. Yeah, see, these guys are starting to come up. All right, and then these are starting to come up as well. So I'm gonna have to uncover, so you can see where somebody dug back there. I'm gonna have to uncover some of these because that's the only way they'll really continue to bloom. But this, I think, is mostly a lost cause. I might get a few out of there, but okay. I'm gonna start digging holes, and then we'll go to moving compost. Trees planted. So dug a hole, made sure that, and I put, some starter fertilizer for fruit trees down in the base of the hole, made sure that when I put the tree in the hole, that the crown of the tree was resting right on the surface, because you don't want to bury it too deep. Then I, put the soil back in, stepped on it to really tamp it down hard, watered it in, and then added a layer of compost. So I think they're going to be good. We'll keep an eye on them. Eventually I'll have to run irrigation to this one down here, the persimmon by the chicken run, because it doesn't have irrigation right now, but we've still got weeks ahead of us for more rain. So I'm not going to worry about it right now, but I will definitely keep an eye on them. But I think that's going to be great. I'm excited, and I think that little apple tree looks wonderful up in its new home. I don't know if I can explain how happy this makes me. So because I'm working out here today, I thought I would let the chickens free range in the garden. I recloached these 2 cabbages because, I think they're going to actually produce heads for me, but the rest of them I don't really care about. And they've been snacking. my chickens, I can't let them free range because this area that we're in, the garden, is not protected from hawks, and we have a lot of hawks. So the only time I can do this is like when I'm out here and when there's not a whole bunch of stuff in the garden that I don't want them to eat. But I just love watching them. It makes me so happy to see them being able to express their whole chicken self. They're scratching around, they're dust bathing, they're munching on bugs, and they're even eating a lot of the weeds for me. Look, she's got some bugs there. So I love it. It makes me so happy. Chickens are great for eggs and making compost and all that, but this is really worth it to me. Okay, so I'm going to, while the chickens are enjoying themselves, living their best lives, I'm just going to get my hoe out and start hoeing everything that needs to be hoed. And then at some point I'll put them back in the run so that I can start bringing in compost and filling up the beds. But right now I'm just enjoying this peaceful time with my ladies in the garden. Y'all, I don't know if these chickens have ever been this happy in their life. Flo's over there, like, in the birdie's bed. They're all, like, dust bathing. See, in the run is full of wood chips and, you know, a deep wood chip bedding, and so it's hard for them to get to any soil. When it's dry, they can dig underneath and get in there, but it's been so wet. So this is the first chance they've had at dry soil. Oh boy, are they happy. Spending a day in the garden is just so good for the soul. Okay, sun is going down, but I'm almost finished. Okay, so like I said, I'm waiting on that bin, that birdie's bed, as well as that one because I'm waiting on the Oyas and then I'll fill them up. But I did get this U-shaped bed all topped up. This whole big planting area is all done. Don't you love a blank slate? This big U-shaped bed is done. And I topped up the compost in this upper bed here. So we've got our new apple tree and then all of the daffodils, and at some point the peonies will come up in there. So I still have a whole lot of compost left. I always kind of overestimate because you just never know. So what I'll probably do is, I mean, I'll still need to fill those other two beds, but this is probably more than I need for that. So then I'll top up this bed over here once the tulips are done, and then I'll move these crates and somewhere else in here, and then I'll top up this bed so it's ready for planting. This bed I can't top up. It's the garlic bed, and it will need it, but we'll have to wait till June or July when we pull the garlic. I do have grow bags to fill, but if I do that, I'm going to leave them in the garage because I don't want them to leach out because we're still going to have lots of rain. So it's been a nice, hard-working day, but yeah, it feels good. I'm still going to need to rig up irrigation here and for these beds, but I have a main header right here. It's kind of buried by the wood chips for when this area used to be all row crops, so I can use that line or rerun that line to get water through here. That's not going to be a problem, and I'm not in a rush to do that because we still have plenty of rain coming. I'm also thinking that where the table and chairs is, that I'm not going to leave that there. It's just a small space, but I think I will put like a teepee trellis there and grow something up that so we have some height in the garden, and I think that'll look really, really cool. I also have other trellises that will be used for like growing peas and stuff, the climbers, that will go into different beds, but for the most part I'd like to put a permanent teepee trellis here, so maybe I'll move wood chips and put like a circular bed there and fill it with compost since I have the compost. I don't know. But I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm done. I'm going to go inside, take a shower, get a whole bunch of water to drink, even though I've been drinking water today, and relax. But I'm super happy with this. I do want to get a few more wood chips and clean up the edges here because, you know, when the hens played, they knocked some things around, and I like nice clean edges, so I definitely will do that. But I feel like this is a huge amount of progress. So tomorrow is Monday, heading out to the farm, and I'm going to finish all the weeding for the ranunculus beds on the east side tomorrow, and start working on trying to get those sleeves in the ground. We'll see if this new technique is going to work. Hopefully it will, and I can make some progress on that tomorrow. Okay, thanks so much for hanging out with me today, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.